Sometimes, the loudest noise in life is not the sound of the world, it is the silence that comes when everyone leaves. Most people fear being alone. They think solitude means loneliness, emptiness, or failure. But what if being alone isn't a punishment? What if it's the beginning of your transformation? There once lived a young man named Aaron in a small coastal town. He was kind, social, and always surrounded by people. His friends admired his energy, his colleagues liked his jokes, and everyone said he was the life of every gathering. But deep inside, Aaron often felt lost. Whenever the noise faded and the crowd disappeared, he felt a strange emptiness, as if he didn't know who he was without others around him. One day, life decided to test him. His best friend moved to another country. His relationship ended, and the company he worked for shut down. For the first time in years, Aaron found himself completely alone. No calls, no messages, no plans, just silence. At first, it terrified him. He tried to escape it by watching endless videos, scrolling through social media, and convincing himself he was fine. But the more he ran from the silence, the louder it grew inside his head. One evening, as the sun was setting, Aaron walked to the cliff near the ocean. He sat there watching the waves crash against the rocks. For the first time, instead of distracting himself, he just listened. He listened to the ocean, to the wind, and eventually to his own thoughts. At first, they were messy, confused, and full of regret. But as the minutes passed, something shifted. Beneath the noise of his worries, he found a calm voice whispering, "You are still here. You are still enough." From that day, Aaron began spending more time alone. Not out of sadness, but out of curiosity. He started reading books he never had time for. He wrote his thoughts in a journal. He went for walks without headphones. Slowly, he began noticing things he'd ignored before: the color of the sky after rain, the smell of the ocean breeze, the way the sunrise painted gold on the waves. At first, people didn't understand. "Why are you so quiet lately?" they asked. "You used to be everywhere." But Aaron smiled and said, "I'm still here, just in a different way." He realized solitude was not about isolation, it was about rediscovering his connection to life itself. One afternoon, while walking through the forest outside town, Aaron met an old man sitting beneath a tree. The man had kind eyes and a peaceful smile. Aaron greeted him, and they started talking. "You seem calm," Aaron said. "Most people would be bored or lonely sitting here alone." The old man chuckled softly. "When you learn to sit with yourself, you'll realize the world has more to say than any conversation." Aaron looked puzzled. The man picked up a small seed from the ground and said, "Do you see this seed? Before it becomes a tree, it must be buried in darkness. It grows roots in silence where no one can see it. That's where its strength begins. Solitude works the same way. It's where you build roots before you bloom. That night, Aaron couldn't stop thinking about the seed. He finally understood that being alone wasn't about losing people. It was about finding depth. When we are surrounded by others, we adapt. We mirror their moods, chase their approval, and measure our worth by their attention. But when we're alone, we face ourselves honestly. We see our flaws without filters, our fears without distractions, and our dreams without noise. That's where real strength begins, when you stop running from yourself. As months passed, Aaron changed. His silence turned into focus. His loneliness turned into creativity. He learned to cook, started sketching, and began planning a small business idea he had always ignored. People started noticing the difference. His energy was calmer, his confidence deeper, his words fewer but more meaningful. Someone once asked him, "You seem happier these days. Did you meet someone?" Aaron smiled and said, "Yes, myself." Eventually, Aaron opened a small art cafe near the ocean, a place where people could sit quietly, read, paint, or just think. The walls were covered with simple quotes about peace and purpose. One day, a young woman came in crying. She said she'd lost her job and all her friends had moved away. Aaron handed her a cup of tea and said, "I know that silence. It feels heavy now, but it's actually your teacher. Don't run from it. Sit with it. It will show you who you are." The cafe became known as a peaceful corner in a noisy world. People came not just for coffee, but to find themselves again. And Aaron often thought of the old man's words about the seed that grows root in darkness. So, if you ever feel alone, remember this: solitude is not the absence of life. The people who fear being alone often don't realize how much power hides inside that quiet. Because when the noise fades, your real voice begins to speak. When no one is watching, you stop performing and start becoming. The truth is, being alone doesn't make you weaker, refines you. It strips away everything false and reminds you of what's real and what dreams have been whispering to you beneath the chaos. Aaron's story is not about isolation. It's about awakening. And maybe that's the journey waiting for you, too. The next time you find yourself sitting in silence, don't rush to fill it. Let it fill you. Instead, let it teach you. Because sometimes the most powerful conversations you'll ever have are the ones you have with yourself. And one day, when people ask how you became so strong, you'll smile gently and say, "It all started when I was finally alone."